Hey, so how are you doing? It's Keith. This is about my sixth attempt at trying to make some sense in this, what I consider an important topic here. Talking about subtle energy. And maybe I should try to make it short or whatever, but just for your information, I know there's a lot of you that like my sort of ramblings and rantings on stuff that have nothing to do with food. And I'm kind of all about food. I mean, to me, that's like starting to acquire the subtle energy, is getting away from the poisonous food that there is out there and drinking better water and just completely refusing all like chemical oriented food and getting on to eating. That's the beginning of becoming aware of or achieving this ability to make your body into an antenna that receives this subtle energy. The very idea of eating raw food is starting to take in subtle energy, because raw food has an energy signature on it. It's full of life, and that's a lot of what people miss that are raw food people. They just sort of name drop all this stuff, but the reason that raw food or live food, and live food is sprouted food and fermented food and things like that, has a bigger energy signature to it, and that's why it's healing. And it's also healing not just from the reasons that you think, of where it's getting your cells respirating and stuff like that, but it's also increases the possibility of spirituality and better connection with your purpose of sort of making your life be the best that it can. Subtle energy. So yeah, I've been on this like this kick of like being sort of straight edge and not sort of totally, and doing a lot more meditation, a lot more silence, going inside myself. So a major element to starting to cultivate the ability to be aware of subtle energy in yourself is starting to spend some specialized time with yourself. And that can be journaling, that can be quiet time, meditation time, keeping lists, reviving lists, going through your day all the time, getting rid of things that you're addicted to, like relationships or like drugs or behaviors, getting mad, being judgmental. Those are all addictions. One of the really big ones is becoming vegan and becoming aware of animals and observing animals and trying to communicate telepathically with animals and being aware that the planet is alive and being aware that humans are out of control and that there's too many humans on the planet, and trying not to be hateful towards other humans about that awareness that basically humans are a cancer. So you want to be the change, and starting to be vegan and live this spiritual life, because a big part of the nutrition of the missing link in veganism is the spiritual aspect of it, is the self-awareness of all of this, of what I'm calling subtle energy. Because somehow when people become vegan, this anger comes in there. So this is a whole other level of awareness. But the being vegan and getting hardcore into animal liberation and the whole idea of speciesism is a really, really big one. Starting to become more aware of astrology and the cosmos and nature, and just realizing that you're a part of nature. Starting to live more frugally and minimally, and stop trying to live your life through defining yourself by the stuff that you have. Doing this dark work on yourself, of getting inside, reading that book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, living up to your own standards by what you believe in, what you think is important, and not what everybody else thinks is important. Having gratitude and giving thanks for all the things that you should have gratitude and thanks for, and blessing your life all the time. Getting in touch with your guides, your spiritual guides, your archangels, guardian angels, and the way to do that is to, especially if you have racing thoughts. So a big thing for me was, I was taking this herb, blue permanent dragon bone and reishi and stuff like that, and back a while ago on Facebook there was some talk about garlic and white onions and stuff like that. So I've been about 4 months of like not taking garlic at all or white onions, and I just simply have what's the Chinese call windy nature. So it's like once you can stop those racing thoughts, you can do a lot more connecting with the spiritual world and being able to get quiet inside yourself. And that's that is really important. Starting to be more mindful of things, just being aware of your life from moment to moment, not forgetting things, um, uh, having a better reason of why you're eating, and possibly fasting, um, setting aside one day a week to juice fast, not eat. Um, Realizing if you work out a lot, why you work out. Like maybe you're just hiding from stuff. Like maybe you just do all that because you don't want to deal with yourself. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be active, because you should be active. Um, but there's got to be a way that you've got to get more into being more mindful and more purposeful for the reason that you're here. Because if you're just running around all the time, and this happens in all forms, whether you're not trying to beat on this whole athletic thing, but there is a world of where um, people act like wellness is measured by your athletic performance, and I call that bullshit, 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 bullshit. So, but there's another way that you can not be mindful, and that's by letting this world like drive you all around, and like of having your life like way too much excess, more than you can handle. You need to simplify and be mindful. And so what I felt is on Halloween, Samhain, starting on the day before, which is October 30th, to like possibly it might continue on. Just so you know, on the pagan calendar, Samhain is like that's like the day. It's like how the normal calendar sees Christmas. But the thing that's important of realizing why this is important is that this life here, and this brings a lot of justice to a lot of unfair stuff of like where you're not seeing stuff totally right for what's really going on, is, you know, this life is just an act in a play that's a bigger part, the spiritual life, or this life is just a couple strides inside of a marathon that's the spiritual life. It's just a piece of it. And while we are like kind of, I don't want to use the word trapped, but if you see it from that point of view, and that we put ourselves in this situation to learn something, it helps a lot. So the ultimate goal in all of this is the spiritual life. So what I wanted to tell you is, with all the work that I've been doing with like eating amazing, eating mostly raw, whole food, kind of for my case of being like more of a hermit and kind of hiding away, and being very careful with the kind of people I'm around, because a lot of people that, maybe you have this, maybe it's just me, I don't know if I attract these kind of people, but I really started to keep some of crazy people like at arm's length, or doing my best not to be around them anymore, because I really want to be the most amazing that I can be. And at some point you have to start dealing with how people affect you. And I'm not into this idea of being a hermit in a cave, although you might have to do a little bit of something like that in order to sort of pull yourself out of a bad situation and start learning, you know, getting your core essence right. Been doing a lot of that, so I'm not going to rap on too much about that. But the amazing experience I had was with this starting the night of the last video I did, which was October 30th, and then hopefully continuing on, is I usually do a meditation like 3 times a day, or a silencing, or a going inside myself, writing in my journal, lighting candles and getting quiet and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So during these over the last few days, the subtle energy was amazing, to where I was actually feeling that I was more energy and more light than I was dense matter. So that was a pretty uplifting experience, and that's kind of all I have to say to you about that. Is that's the ultimate journey, is becoming more aware of this spiritual life. It's like I'm not even going to be making any more excuses for people that are atheists. This is definitely not, my raps are definitely not for anybody that's in that atheist thinking. There's way too much order in this world and way too much about the way that we feel. And as I've done things that are to do with fasting and dealing with a lot of this dark stuff, I've become very aware of archangels, higher guides, all of this stuff. And as you become more aware of all of these subtle energies, you'll feel the same thing. Hey, so the wrap up on this is all about, there's just a whole way that I feel like this world, what we call real, this, here, everything around us is just not even the real deal. The spiritual life is the real deal, and it's not, you believe that, but when you start becoming aware of that and like stop living in this place, that's what I mean by the subtle energy. So you start becoming more aware of people, of that everybody's doing the best that they can, tuning more into your dreams for one thing, and the food thing, you can chase your tail all you want on thinking that like just this kind of food, that kind of food, those herbs, whatever. I've taken all of the herbs that you could possibly imagine, and nothing really starts. Like really, the whole diet, the whole food thing, is just not even important. Like you should start with the emotional healing, the mental, getting emotions and the mental are connected, and the fact that you don't want those racing thoughts anymore. You want to start becoming aware of. That's what we're here for, is to feel. It's a big thing that humans do, and just really connecting into that spiritual world, and then that's when it really starts. And as a matter of fact, I have not been taking too many herbs for the last 2 years, and now that I'm at this position where I am, I'm actually going to start stacking them back on. So anyways, you can support me by supporting my music. This is the latest CD that I just released. Thunder Conjuring Mind. That's it there. And this is the one from last year. Whoop. Flying Potion. So you can see there's a big spiritual theme going on there. You get the reishi mushrooms. Got the mushrooms. Starting to get more active in social media. Those of you who follow me on Facebook, it'd probably be more interesting for you to follow me on my Second Culture page. And I'll put the link down to that, because there's a way that I kind of hold back on the one thing, and the whole Second Culture page is all about what's going on with the music, the inspiration and the creativity, and the connecting with the spirit, which is really what I'm all about. So probably sound like I'm a little bit stoned right now, but you know what this is? This is the not taking garlic in my case, and I'm having to balance that out and just getting really inside of myself. So bright blessings to you all.